Hi everyone, I'm Donna Stellhorn, your practical astrologer, and today we are talking about the full moon. It's on August 9. It's at 17 degrees of Aquarius. The Lion's Gate lines up a day before this full moon, and that unprecedented talent triangle I've been talking about is lit up because Mars is forming a kite pattern, activating the energy. Yeah, that sounded like a lot. It's a lot, and that's what we're going to talk about. In unprecedented times, it's very important to be flexible and resilient, and this full moon in Aquarius gives you a chance to change directions while you're in motion. So this is the energy that I'm seeing for this full moon. It's that Mars is making a trine both to Uranus and to Pluto, and it's making that opposition to Saturn and Neptune, and that forms this kite configuration. So while you are doing all of the things that you're doing, and there are lots of things that you're doing, you can, say, shift one direction towards Uranus and do something completely unexpected, out of the box. Or you can shift towards Pluto and let go of something that's been holding you back, a vice, an attitude, a person, a project, and free yourself. Or you can meet Saturn and Neptune in the middle and actively work with someone else, maybe helping them. So putting aside your desires and your goals and really focusing on them. And as you do, you get the insights and spiritual healing that you need. And all of this comes down to the fact that what's most important right now is flexibility and resilience. And I was reading Seth Godin's blog, and he was talking about resilience and being able to move forward even though things haven't worked out. You know, that when things don't work out, that we try something else, and then we try something else, and we try something else. And that continual knocking at these different doors is what brings us opportunities. And if you would like to know more about what's ahead for you in 2025 and 2026, I do readings. I do all types of astrological readings. That means progressed readings, solar return readings, readings for compatibility, to start your business, for timing. So if you're interested, there's a link in the description. And then at the end of this video, we're going to continue talking about your money houses and how to find the hidden money in your chart. Okay, Taurus, the full moon is lighting up your area of career, and then Mars is activating your area of work. And so you're kind of on a theme here. And so instead of using this energy to, quote unquote, be more productive or to, try to churn out more, this is more about using your environment to support you. Because with the Mars active so much in this chart, this would be to set up your office in a way that makes you feel comfortable, to have everything that you need within reach, to see if you could find a better route to work, or to position your desk so that you have a better view, or that you don't have so much noise, or things like that. So this is about looking at your space, and even your personal space. If you want to focus on hobbies and things like that, but your time gets eaten up with, screen time or something like that, you may want to move your guitar or your sewing or whatever the hobby is to the living room where you see it right when you walk in the door rather than seeing the giant TV. So, but this is the getting rid of the distractions, cleaning up your environment, because that's going to help you a great deal to then focus on what's important. Now, when it comes to relationships, Venus is not making an aspect with Pluto, nor is it making an aspect with Mars. So the energy here is that everything's kind of status quo. There's not a lot that you can do to move things forward. And that also means, though, that any things that you're wanting to deal with, you have to kind of put off until we get to that new moon energy later in August. So it's right now, in general, how this usually plays out is it's comfortable. It's as it has been. So therefore, in most cases, you're going to feel okay with the relationship. It's just if something does come up, then set a time to discuss it, but outside this 2-week period. Now, when it comes to your money, you pull money from Mercury, which is retrograde and very active in this chart. So there's so many interesting opportunities that are now they're coming back to you. They're becoming more viable. The situations have changed to where people were saying no before, and now they're saying yes. So it's time to go back, maybe through your notes, your journal, to see what were the ideas that you had before, what were the opportunities before, and see if these are not coming back to life, because it does look like there's some money opportunities from the past that are at your door. Now, when it comes to money from business or from investments, Mercury and Jupiter were making an aspect, but now Mercury's a little bit out of reach, and that's kind of how it feels for the next 2 weeks, that the profits are there, but it's not quite time to take them, or the person is saying that they do want to place the order, but they haven't quite made the order yet, or you're still waiting on payment or things like that. So the idea here is that as Mercury then stops and starts to move forward on August 11, then things will start opening up and you will have more opportunities. So you just have, after this full moon, you just have a couple of days, and then the energy will slowly start to move forward, and it will pick up quite a pace about a week in. Now, when it comes to money derived from career, so that would be a paycheck, the story is entirely different, because Mercury is making a lovely trine to Neptune. That would mean that there is an opportunity here for you to make more money in your job. Now, there also, because of the way things are lined up, it may be that this more money is actually a perk, like you getting to work from home an extra day a week, which saves you on gas and saves you on time, or that there is some other benefit that doesn't necessarily put actual cash in your pocket, but it has a value, it has a worth. Okay, in the third section of this video, there is a little tutorial, but first I have a couple of announcements, and one of those is about the tutorials themselves, and that is that as a member, you get direct access to these tutorials. You get them all, in a little series, and there are additional videos, deep dive videos, behind the scenes videos. And so if you're really interested in astrology, then consider joining. The join button is on YouTube. It's right by the subscribe button, and so I would love to have you as a member. And then, in case you don't know already, I give a free class every month. It is on the first day of the month. It's at 12 p.m. Pacific time. That is 3 p.m. Eastern time. That is 8 p.m. England time. I don't know what that is for Australia. I should find out. But in this class, we do an astrological overview of the month, and then we write our monthly wishes together. We pick what we're going to focus on for the month, and then we do a short meditation where we energize this all together, all of our lists. And this class lasts for about an hour. As I said, it is free. You can register for this class. There's a link in the description. So let's continue our discussion about finding the hidden money in your chart. And by the way, I do have a video course on this topic, and there is a link to that in the description. So we've talked about the second house for a couple of videos now, and so I'd like to start our discussion talking about the other houses, money houses in your chart. You have 4 total money houses in your chart, and the second house is the most important one, but the others do play an important role. So there's the 5th house, and the 5th house is about speculation and money derived from real estate. So if you're a person who's going to roll the dice, invest in crypto, take a chance on buying a business or starting up a business, that energy will show up in the 5th house. Now, additionally, because real estate is the 4th house, and the 5th house is the second from the 4th house, so in derivative houses, we are deriving charts from the individual houses. So the second from the fourth house would be money derived from real estate. And so if you work in real estate, if you work in construction, if you do anything basically in the trades, or you do home decor, or you rent out part of your house, that all would be covered by the fifth house, or at least the money derived from those activities would be covered by the fifth house. Then there's the eighth house. Now, the eighth house is money from business. It is money from investments. It is money from partnerships. It's also inheritance, gifts, royalties, residuals, passive income sources, and the lottery. Now, the lottery is different than speculation for the fifth house. That type of speculation in the fifth house is more like poker, where you are head-to-head against another individual or the house, versus the lottery, where there is mutual betting that happens and then someone walks away with the prize. And then this is money from partnerships. That includes marriage, and that's because the seventh house is your partner, the person that you marry, or your business partner. And then in derivative houses, the second from the seventh, which is the eighth house, would be money derived from partnership. And then there is the 11th house, and the 11th house is money derived from career. So again, we're using derivative houses. The 10th house is your career, and so the second from the 10th would be money derived from career. And that would include working for somebody else or doing some sort of contract work, especially if you're in some sort of temp agency where you're going from business to business. This is also, though, for people who work in their own business, but they are integral for that business, such as a doctor whose name is on the plaque. And so if the doctor's not there, there is no business. Or people like studio musicians, where it's gig after gig, but it's more treated like a job, where there are certain hours that they have to show up and do whatever they're doing. So there is a little bit of a fine line on the contract work. Sometimes that will appear more as 8th house, sometimes it's more 11th house. But in general, what we look at is if you have a well-disposed 11th house, you're more likely to work for someone else. If your 8th house is a better house, better based on the planets that are there and the aspects that they're making, then you're more inclined to have your own business. And then the next step will be to look at the planets in those houses and what houses they rule, and then also the sign on the cusp and where that planet is, because that house will give you more information about the money you can attract. And we will talk about that in future videos. And that's it. I put out an illustrated newsletter once a week, and if you like astrology and you love black cats, this is something you'll want to subscribe to. There's a link in the description, and I will see you in the next video.